Hey, everybody, this is Mike Mayer, one of the hosts of the Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast. I just wanted to say thanks for listening and introduce you to one of our great sponsors. When you're planning for an anniversary, wedding reception, or the next WWE pay-per-view, Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue Catering has you covered. Slow smoked barbecue from pork ribs, pulled pork, tri-tip, chicken wings, and more, plus a variety of sides. Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue Catering is based out of Norco, California, serving the Inland Empire. Go to the website, mayorsbbq.com, Mayersbbq, and on Facebook at Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue. At Mayor's Smokehouse Barbecue, it's barbecue smoked to perfection.
The Pro Wrestling Almanac Podcast. Celebrating professional wrestling from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For wrestling fans, by wrestling fans.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to episode 10 of the Pro Wrestling Almanac podcast. On this week's episode, we'll discuss everything that's going on in the Cruiserweight division, the rumors of Conor McGregor in the WWE, and the WWE pay-per-view Hell in a Cell, and the rumors of a WWE Women's Tag Team title. For our Ghost of Wrestling Past, we will discuss the last WCW Monday Nitro and our Indie Spotlight segment featuring bar wrestling out of Baldwin Park, California. But first, it's time for the Wrestling Results Roundup.
The Wrestling Results Roundup. Here are the results from this week's televised shows. On NXT, Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott beat the iconic duo Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. Lio Rush fought Aleister Black to a no contest. Kairi Sane beat Aaliyah, and NXT champion Drew McIntyre beat Roderick Strong. On Lucha Underground, Ultima Lucha Tres Part 2. The Mac won a unique opportunity battle royal and earned a trios championship match. Ivelisse beat Katrina, and Phoenix beat Marty the Moth Martinez in a mask versus hair match. On GFW Impact Wrestling, Chris Adonis beat Garza Jr. World Tag Team Champions OVE Jake and Dave Christ beat John Bolin and Trey Miguel. Matt Sydal, Petey Williams, and Sanjay Dutt beat X Division Champion Trevor Lee, Caleb Conley, and Andrew Everett in a six-man tag team match. And El Hijo de Fantasma and Tejano beat Impact Grand Champion Ethan Carter III and James Storm. On WWE Main Event, Heath Slater beat Dash Wilder, and Rich Swann and Lindsay Dorado beat Tony Nese and Noam Dar. On GFW Explosion, James Storm beat Caleb Conley. On the WWE Hell in a Cell kickoff show, Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin beat the Hype Bros, Mojo Rawley, and Zack Ryder. On WWE Hell in a Cell 2017, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay Uso, beat The New Day, Big E, and Xavier Woods in a Hell in a Cell match to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Randy Orton beat Rusev. Baron Corbin beat AJ Styles and Ty Dillinger in a triple threat match to win the United States Championship. Charlotte Flair beat SmackDown Women's Champion Natalya by disqualification. WWE Champion Jinder Mahal beat Shinsuke Nakamura. Bobby Roode beat Dolph Ziggler, and Kevin Owens beat Shane McMahon in a Falls Count Anywhere Hell in a Cell match. On Ring of Honor TV, World Television Champion Kenny King beat Josh Woods, and World Six-Man Tag Team Champions the Hung Bucks, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Hangman Page beat Silas Young, the Beer City Bruiser, and Minoru Suzuki. On New Japan King of Pro Wrestling 2017, Hiromu Takahashi, Sanada, and Bushi beat Leo Tonga, Yujiro Takahashi, and Bad Luck Fale. Toru Yano and Haruki Goto Yamamoto beat Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo beat Funky Future, Ricochet, and Ryusuke Taguchi to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Killer Elite Squad, Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer beat War Machine, Raymond Rowe and Hanson, and the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. IWGP United States Champion Kenny Omega, Marty Scurll, and Cody beat Beretta, Jado, and Yoshihashi. Juice Robinson and Kota Ibushi beat IWGP Intercontinental Champion Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toji Makabe. Will Ospreay beat Kushida to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Tetsuya Naito beat Tomohiro Ishii and earned the right to face the IWGP Heavyweight Champion at Wrestle Kingdom 12. And IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada beat Evil. On WWE Raw, Jason Jordan beat Carl Anderson, Elias beat Apollo Crews, Braun Strowman beat Matt Hardy, The Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher beat Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, Emma beat Alicia Fox, Bayley, Dana Brooke, and Sasha Banks in a fatal 5-way elimination match, and Kalisto beat Enzo Amore to win the Cruiserweight Championship. On WWE SmackDown Live, Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin beat The Ascension, Connor and Victor, Breezango, Fandango, and Tyler Breeze, and the Hype Bros, Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder in a fatal 4-way match to become the #1 contenders to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Becky Lynch beat Carmella, Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura beat Aiden English and Rusev, and United States Champion Baron Corbin beat AJ Styles. On WWE 205 Live, Rich Swann beat TJP in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and Cruiserweight Champion Kalisto and Mustafa Ali beat Enzo Amore and Arya Daivari. And that's all for this week's Wrestling Results Roundup. Yeehaw!
And folks, I'm Mike alongside with Chad and the founder of ProWrestlingAlmanac.com, Tristan. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Not too bad.
How are you doing, Mike?
I'd be better if the King... Hey, they finally scored a goal. It's 2-1.
You're a liar. Right. You said you would turn the game off when we started.
He did say that.
I did, and then I switched over because I was about to say I'm doing crappy. They're losing 2-0, and then I switched just to take a look. But yeah,
Mike,
Kings are
turn the hockey off.
Yeah, it's off. It's off. I'm on Pro Wrestling Almanac right now, looking at the results for our Ghost of Wrestling Pass segment. But other than that, and then Tristan, you got some big news.
Yeah, I sure did. Wife and I are having another kid, and we're having a boy. So yeah,
congratulations!
Yeah, my son's really happy.
Nice. Got a brother.
Yes.
Yeah, I know my next month's going to get kind of crazy. My wife and I start classes to become foster parents, so
nice.
We got to do that every Tuesday and Thursday of the month of November, minus Thanksgiving. So
cool.
That should be fun, and it looks like we might end up around Christmas time with a baby girl.
Nice. So, well, more power to you, man. Because I mean, I don't even like my own kids, no less someone else's. So
that's why I just figured you have plenty of girls. I'll pawn the girls off on you there, Mike.
Oh man, I tried out. Hey, Grandpa, you want the kids for a weekend?
Unfortunately, all my family is on the other side of the country, minus Tristan.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, other than that, well, that's huge, Tristan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Same for you, Chad. Congrats.
Thank you.
Hopefully I'm done and don't have any more. That would be nice. So, let's get into the wrestling news right now. Man, there is a lot going on in the cruiserweight division right now.
Yeah.
You had Kalisto won the cruiserweight title on Raw.
I was gonna say a Greek goddess did not win the title.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think that it would have been kind of cool to have Enzo retain and then at a pay-per-view lose it. I don't know how I feel about titles changing hands at house shows. I mean, sometimes it
wasn't a house show; it was Raw, dude.
Or it was Raw.
But you know what I mean, just a regular TV show.
The lesser titles change on TV all the time, though.
I know, but it's still. I mean,
I at least like the fact that they put themselves in a corner when they did the whole storyline with Enzo having the you touch me, you lose your opportunity at a championship, especially when the entire roster went out there and beat the ever-living crap out of him. And so they needed to do something. They did that with Kalisto. At least Angle came out, explained how Kalisto was able to get away with it, and they got the title off of him. So now, the no-touch clause, as it was, that's null and void now. And so, I mean, will he get the title back at TLC? Possibly. But at least it broke up that stale storyline that prevented virtually the entire 205 Live roster from being able to, go after him for a championship. So,
what does stale mean to you?
Well,
we're not talking about day old bread here. We're talking about an angle that was a week old.
Yeah, I know it was a week old, but you were getting to the point where unless they brought someone in like Kalisto, where were they going to go with that? Because at that point, everybody on the 205 roster had already assaulted him, which meant they could not compete for the title. You could only go so many weeks before that starts getting boring.
Not everyone did.
Yeah, well, and not only that, I mean, how many times have they changed the ruling on a whim or at a whim? I mean, they do it quite often.
We were talking about this earlier today, I think, or maybe it was yesterday, Mike, with when I was talking about restraining orders. Restraining orders go both ways. If you break a restraining, if you get a restraining order and then you violate it, the restraining order is broken. So who's to say that they couldn't have gone that route with it? Because Enzo attacked Neville, then the no contact clause was broken, and so he was now able to get a title shot.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're going. I don't know. I like the idea. I mean, it was once again great to just hear Corey Graves' commentary when Kalisto won the title and yelled out a thank God, when Enzo lost. But it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. And then in the other news, rumors abound that Neville has asked for his release.
Yeah. Apparently he got all upset when they took him out of the Cruiserweight title match on Raw and walked out. So there's no concrete news on this. WWE has said that Neville still works for them, so nothing is concrete. Nobody has come out and said that this is true or not. This is literally a sources say situation. So
definitely,
it's take this with an entire salt mine.
Yeah. One of the things. Sorry, go ahead, Chad.
No, well, the same thing, at the same time with Neville being on 205 Live. I mean, I remember when he first came out into the main roster. I enjoyed watching him. He was fun. He was energetic. He was everything about it was fun to watch. It was like the old days of watching the old cruiserweights, just the high flyers doing all kinds of crazy things. But then they go and take him and try to build up this 205 Live, and they take Neville from mid-card and put him in the 205 Live, and he becomes Cruiserweight champion. It was kind of like when they used to put when they moved Christian from I forget where he was onto ECW, and
when he returned, he came to TNA. You mean from TNA to ECW?
Was that what happened with that one? But I mean, it's still the same. I mean, the same thing. They tried to put big names on the lower end shows, so they would try to get viewing, and people don't really watch 205 Live. I think that people come to Raw to stay for 205 Live.
Well, they don't go to Raw to stay
or
for
SmackDown.
I can tell you that when I was at SmackDown, nobody left the arena until the show was over, and that includes 205 Live.
Well, I mean, like, we've gone to shows before, and it was when they would film main event before,
that's
or half
different.
of main event before SmackDown, or half of main event before Raw, and I mean, that was okay. Or didn't we go one time when they had NXT film before SmackDown?
I mean, I never went to SmackDown with you, so we went to Raw.
Oh, maybe. Did they? Well, I guess it wasn't Raw. I don't know. Whatever.
So,
but I think that it was Neville was put. I thought Neville was not better than 205 Live, but I thought that he deserved more than to be the top name on a more lackluster, for lack of a better term, part of WWE. I thought he deserved to be in the running for Intercontinental Champion or U.S. Championship. But it's another way of putting other people in places that, I mean, I don't think they really belong, but they're just trying to get their views up.
One of the things that I was reading that was one of the rumors as to why Neville possibly walked out is he was initially actually scheduled to lose on Raw to Enzo in the main event.
Right.
And then he walked out, which then caused the plans to change, and they threw Kalisto in. Another rumor that I've been reading, and once again, we stress these are all rumors, this is all hearsay, is that with everything that's been going on and the constant changes in the Cruiserweight division, he wants to get out of the Cruiserweight division and get back into a possible IC title, hunt, even if he doesn't make it up to the top of the card, get into that mid card and get out of the 205 Live. Once again, it's rumors. Everything's hearsay until we find out. And then remember, if he asked for his release, it's not a guarantee that the WWE is going to release him from his contract.
Right.
They could hold him and make him work out the rest of his contract. So it'll be interesting to see what that goes. Anything else on that, you guys?
No, I mean, I think that if he really did walk out because he wants to go more towards the main roster again, or I shouldn't say the main roster, but on for a run on the IC title or the U.S. Championship, I think that's more than fair. I mean, he's proved himself time in and time out, or time and time again, and it's just been. I mean, I don't enjoy watching 205 Live because it's not the cruiserweights that I grew up watching. So I have no problem with if that's the reason why he did it.
Tristan?
I mean, I think walking out on your job is the wrong answer no matter what, unless there's some sort of like legitimate gripe that you have. You can quit your job, but I don't know that necessarily you're paid to go and wrestle on TV. You're not happy with your position. You go about it the right way. You request your release. You don't walk out.
Well, remember, I mean, Austin did that once, and he was
wrong too.
No, I agree.
He was wrong. Punk was wrong, and all of the guys that have walked out on their contract have been wrong, and they're lucky that they haven't been taken to court and forced to, pay some sort of financial restitution and things of that nature.
I think that would be kind of tough to do because of the fact they are independent contractors. That would be. I'm not a lawyer, of course, so I mean, it would be see how that goes. Because
depends on what their contract says.
Exactly. So, but I mean, even Austin said, at the time, and the big reason why Austin walked out is because he came in and they basically told him, all right, you and Brock are going to wrestle on Raw.
And he literally was like, well, this is stupid. You know, I mean, come on, this is the main event of a pay-per-view. Let's have a build-up to this thing. Let's get a storyline going, and let's get it on a pay-per-view where we can make some money on it and not give it away for free.
Yeah, that's funny because Hogan, who is the ultimate politician, supposedly, had no problem going out and losing to Brock Lesnar on TV with no build-up.
Yeah. Austin said later on, that of course it was a stupid decision and, he regretted doing it and was glad that everything was able to be smoothed over. But you're right. It's not the way to go. So hopefully the rumors aren't true. Maybe something else happened that, they're not talking about, possible emergency, family, who knows? And just, the dirt sheets are picking it up that Enzo stormed out of Raw. So we'll find out a little bit later, but, who knows? Other big rumors going around. Conor McGregor looking to sign a contract possibly for a one-off at WrestleMania this year coming up.
So apparently this comes from the UK Sun, which my understanding it's not like the most reputable paper.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. I guess it's been like banned at places because it's in such disrepute, but it's out there.
Yes.
That this is happening, and I haven't seen anything to come out to refute it. So.
It wouldn't surprise me if he did. I mean, Conor is a very, very smart businessman. I mean, to be able to have never fought a professional boxing match. I mean, he boxed as an amateur when he was younger, or he got into mixed martial arts. But to have never fought a boxing match ever and was able to put together the largest payday that any UFC fighter has ever seen in history. I mean, think about this. Up until that fight with Floyd Mayweather, the largest purse that Conor had ever fought for was $3 million.
Which is pretty unheard of in its own right for UFC fighters, by the way.
Right. There's only a couple of guys that ever been able to do that. A Brock Lesnar.
Brock wasn't pulling that kind of money. Maybe in his return, but no, he absolutely he was not getting a purse of that size. He might have gotten pay-per-view points and things like that.
But that's how they do it. The purse, sorry, I shouldn't have used the word purse. The $3 million that he got was based off of his pay-per-view. The purse for the fight was still low. UFC has always been notorious at having low purses and even low payouts on pay-per-views.
Well, only champions get pay-per-view points, and then people who have specially negotiated contracts.
Yeah.
They offer fight bonuses and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ronda's another one that in the UFC was able to pull in those kind of numbers. So, I mean, the fact that he was able to make, and estimates are for that Floyd Mayweather fight, close to $150 million is what Conor took home for that one fight, 9 rounds. There's talk that he will go back to the UFC for a fight or two. But I'll be honest, I really think if he wanted to, with the mouth that guy has, the ego, the bravado, just the charisma, I mean, I think he could, if he put his mind to it, I think he'd actually make a pretty decent WWE superstar.
Yeah, but you'd have to put him against
money there.
Well, here's the thing. He would make a ton of money on merchandise. People would buy his stuff.
Maybe.
And the guy, after that Mayweather fight, is set for life. I mean, he literally, if he goes back to UFC, it's to defend the 2 titles that he currently holds, that one of them he hasn't even defended in over a year.
Yeah, he hasn't defended either of them.
No.
And,
I mean, he won the other one relatively recently. I think it was like 4 months before the Floyd fight.
Oh, before the Floyd? No, I think it was longer than that. When he beat Eddie Alvarez, I think it was.
Yeah. So, I mean, if he loses those, I think he's done. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But, I mean, am I opposed to the idea? No. I mean, WWE's brought a lot of one-timers in for WrestleMania and for special events. So, Chad?
No, I mean, it would be exciting to see him in WWE. I just don't know who you'd really pin him against. I mean, somebody like AJ Styles would probably be a good match against him, only because AJ could carry the match. Not saying that Conor wouldn't be good, but I mean, he's not a professional wrestler. He doesn't know how to do it, and AJ's been doing it for a while. He's a great performer, so I mean, that would be who I would pin him against. But
I wouldn't put him against AJ. I'd put him against Samoa Joe.
That would work too.
That's a good one.
I mean, you wouldn't even have to worry about the size difference because, I mean, Floyd Mayweather beat the Big Show.
That's true.
Oh, God, that was horrible.
Oh, no, it wasn't. That was actually probably the best celebrity match that they've ever had. That match was fantastic.
And the
build-up was fantastic, too.
Well,
the build-up was good.
Mayweather will even tell you he thought that the Big Show was going to kill him when he broke the Big Show's nose.
Well, the Big Show told him to break his nose.
Yeah, he told him to uncork on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, not break his nose. And Big Show actually got pretty pissed off, was going to eat him.
Oh, I don't think he meant.
No, because the Big Show talked about it on a podcast
on purpose.
Yeah, Big Show said that, it was funny when everything was over, he went backstage to go look for Floyd and asked where Floyd was, and they said he left and he's on his plane because he literally thought, and Show didn't care because Show, said, he goes, that was great for us. It was one of the, bigger things he had ever gotten to do at the time. And, at the time was in with the best boxer in the world. So, WWE, like I said, they always find a way to bring in celebrities and whoever's hot. Rumor is we might see also Ronda at WrestleMania this year with a horsewomen versus horsewomen match. Who knows? So it'll be interesting to see what they do for WrestleMania 34. But we got some time for that. But, while we're talking about that pay-per-view, let's get into the one we just had this Sunday, Hell in a Cell. We forgot because we were a little busy and kind of thrown off because we had that guest last week, which it was great having Aaron on, but we forgot to do our predictions for the pay-per-view.
And a good thing too, because we would have gone way over.
Yeah. What'd you guys think? Let's start off. Chad, match of the night. What did you think?
I'm gonna say the tag match.
Was one of the few you got to watch before your internet shut off?
Dude, I didn't get. I still have not seen the ending of the tag match. Day lost.
Yeah.
I know that. I saw that because I get an alert on my phone as I'm waiting on the internet to come back on, and it says the Usos have won the. I'm like, really? That sucks. But and then Katie I missed the whole. Unhappy. I missed the whole rant. Well, I know. I saw your text messages coming through. But I missed the whole Randy Orton Rusev match.
You missed nothing.
That was pretty much what everybody
missed the whole Randy Orton Rusev match too.
Jesus. Can they please just end that? I don't want to see those two in a ring ever again. They made it worse by having on SmackDown, let's throw Rusev with Aiden English against Nakamura and Orton. And it's like, we've seen these guys. I am just, like I said, I am so done with seeing Randy Orton and Rusev. It's just, it's done. It's over. Bury it.
Well, it's kind of like I've seen a couple weeks ago on Twitter where some guy actually wrote to WWE and the Road Dogg, Jesse James, and saying, hey, I'm tired of seeing New Day versus the Usos because they played it for a long time. But, it worked. Did a good job. They had a phenomenal match.
Well, that's all they've had is great matches. These guys stole the show on SummerSlam on the pre-show.
Yeah, and they actually on SmackDown on Tuesday, they came out. The Usos came out first and asked the New Day to come into the ring, and basically they were telling each other, first of all, mad respect, and we are the tag division. No one else can compete with us. And that's when every other tag team came out. You had, the Hype Bros, you had the Ascension, you had the Oh God, what's the name of the Fandango?
Breezango.
What's their tag team? Breezango. There you go. And then you had who was Shelton Benjamin and
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable come out.
Well, hang on, Mike. So, tell me what I need to do to never hear you say the words "mad respect" again.
I'm just repeating what they said.
Okay.
Sweet, it's 2-2.
You said you were turning it off.
I just switched over. I'm not watching it. I'm literally it's on my link. I'm just occasionally switching over. So far they're scoring when I'm not watching, so I'm gonna keep not watching. But yeah, so I mean the problem is that I mean, I get what you were saying, Chad, but those guys, they put on such great matches.
I wasn't saying it.
Some fool on Twitter
was somebody else said.
Well, he's a fool, and he should never be allowed to tweet.
Road Dogg said, "Hey, sorry. I wish." Like the guy literally said he was canceling his WWE Network subscription because he was tired of watching the Usos versus the New Day.
I'm sure he did too.
Hi, Felicia.
And that was basically what was said. Is well, we hope we get your business back someday, but.
He didn't cancel it, just like all of those canceled WWE Network people didn't. Back in when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble, didn't cancel it.
No, I mean there were a few, but it wasn't anything like what everybody was posting on Facebook and Twitter. I think we can all agree. I mean, you and I talked about it earlier today, Tristan. I mean, the tag match was definitely the match of the night.
Oh, without question.
I mean, there was a certain period of time where I felt like I was watching an episode of Roots, but
Mike.
What?
You can say that to me on my phone. You can't say that on our podcast.
Yeah, yes, I can.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
I mean, literally. I mean, they were just.
Mike,
I did.
Just stop.
I mean,
Mike.
Hey, 3-2. All right. You told me I couldn't talk anymore, so I switched.
I told you couldn't talk about that.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Would it make you feel any better if I said it was more like a Michael Fay beating?
I don't know who that is.
He was the guy who got caned in Singapore.
Yes, I would. It would.
Okay, there we go. So Michael Fay, we won't go with that anymore. But I mean, it just everything.
Actually,
I mean,
what? Say all that stuff, because if somebody decides to boycott it, we'll probably get more listeners.
But I mean, I have never seen kendo sticks used like that before.
The best was when they
pinned him in the corner.
Put 4 kendo sticks, and I didn't see how he got out. It was just he's out.
Well,
he
that
got
was
because
we had another
beating on him.
We had another glorious Kevin Dunn cutaway to the crowd, and
oh god,
then
there was one point where it was like there was a move happening.
Not what happened.
And
they went after.
He panned away,
and he got off the turnbuckle. It wasn't like he was trapped. He just had his arms draped over it, and one of them was holding his arms in place, and they were beating on him, so he couldn't He was. Not, I mean,
that was just
very well done.
That was a hell of a match. They both beat the ever-living crap out of each other. I mean, there was a point where we were all texting, and literally we're just like, hey, guys, you got another cage match tonight. Don't destroy it.
Yeah.
And I definitely remember seeing the cage bend.
Oh, yeah.
When Big E went into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, hands down, my number one match of the night, Tristan's number one match of the night, your number one match of the night.
Easy.
Yeah, easy.
I mean, yeah, easily.
Well, that was only because the last match of the night.
Well, no. It was the best match of the night, but not because the last match of the night was what it was. This was the best match of the night on its own virtues. Oh, yeah, 1,000%. We'll talk about the last match of the night in a little bit, though. Let's work our way through the card.
All right, go ahead, Tristan.
Oh, I thought you were doing it.
No, I'll let you. Go ahead.
I don't have it up.
Oh, Randy Orton versus Rusev.
No,
we don't even need to talk about that one. Let's go.
Okay, I'll pull it up then.
Well, what was the next one? That was
we had Natty and Charlotte.
Baron, the U.S. title match. Baron Corbin.
Oh, that's right, U.S.
AJ
title
Styles,
match.
Ty Dillinger. That was a good match. It was a little formulaic as far as the WWE triple threat formula, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, not much I could say. I mean, I'm not a big Baron Corbin fan. I mean,
that's because you're dumb.
No, I'm not a big Baron Corbin fan either. So who's the dumb one, Chad? I think it's you.
Maybe.
Once again, he's like a whiny millennial. I mean, literally, it's like.
Well, that's the age group we're into now for wrestlers.
Yep, it's true.
I know
where we are.
I know.
I mean, he didn't want to work hard in NXT. That's why he was there for so long. He was at FCW before that, which turned into NXT. So he was there for a while, and people kept telling him what he had to do, and he just never listened because he wanted to do things his way. He plays his character because he is his character. He doesn't talk well, but he's big and strong, and I think he's a decent performer. I think half the times he's worse than I am about stumbling over his words.
Here's my thing. I mean, I know he's got that look that Vince likes. I just can't picture him as a top card guy.
Absolutely not.
I can't. I mean, I see him in an IC or a US title, role. I don't see him having what it takes to go after a WWE championship. And obviously, whether or not it was because of the rumors of him being punished for, his little stunt he pulled with Dr. Maroon, or the fact that the company didn't see it either way, I mean, he lost out big time on his opportunity for the WWE Championship.
Okay,
so
why can't it just be that they decided to have somebody with the briefcase lose occasionally? Why does it have to be any kind of backstage anything other than they were like, hey, you know what might be a good change of pace is let's have this guy lose because the last few guys have won.
I agree because of the fact that only 3 guys ever in the history of Money in the Bank have failed to cash in.
Right.
So, I mean, I agree with you. It could be that, but all of the rumors coming out were because of the fact that it was the talk of what had happened when they were meeting with the concussion protocol doc.
I said this when we talked about it a few weeks ago, that something happens that people do not understand why it would have happened, so there has to be a reason.
Yeah.
Right. And that reason can't just be wrestling has storylines, and this is how it happened. This is how the storyline went.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, it could totally go that way. I mean, it does, whether or not it was because they decided to change and just say, hey, no, we just need someone to finally lose a cash in or whatever. It happened, and he did not get the push that everybody thought he was going to for the WWE title. So I just don't see him as a top player. I see him more in that supporting level. I mean, Chad, what do you think?
No, I mean, I really do. Corbin, I watched the little the thing on the network about
Breaking Ground.
It was all Breaking Ground, and I really enjoyed his character in that, or who he was in that. And I mean, he's not very good at some things, and I think he's a very good mid-card person. But with anybody, he could be a potential world champion at one day. I mean, Kane was a world champion. Not that he's the same as Kane, but Kane was a world champion. He's not the best performer ever either. So, I mean,
it's Baron Corbin is hardly Isaac Yankem.
It's true.
Baron Corbin, I'm not a big fan of the guy either, but that's not to say that he doesn't have all of the tools that it takes to be a champion. He does. He has all of them. Yeah, he's not the greatest talker. Neither was Rob Van Dam. Neither was Daniel Bryan. Neither was Chris Benoit. Neither was Bret Hart. There are a lot of people that aren't the greatest talkers that can go in the ring. Now, that's not to say Baron. Don't get me wrong. Baron Corbin does not have the in-ring ability of a Rob Van Dam, Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan, Bret Hart. Not even close.
Yeah.
But he
that
has
deep six does
he
look
has,
good.
Right, and he has one thing that those guys don't have. He is huge.
Yes.
Now, I think he really needs to, put a little bit of work in and get rid of the dad bod. But other than that, he looks better than I do, but I don't perform with my body for a living. Not anymore, anyway.
And didn't he have a new theme song?
I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I know, because he had said something about, hey, check out my new entrance song, so...
Yeah, no, he did. So, all right, well, let's go on to the next one, which was the women's championship match, Charlotte and Natalya.
I'm glad Natalya didn't lose the title, but other than that match was garbage.
It was.
It took me back to the good old days, Tristan, when we used to use the women's matches as smoke breaks.
Yeah, probably. It would have been my second smoke break of the evening because, that Randy Orton match was just horrible.
But was it really long enough to have a whole cigarette during?
I don't know, maybe.
I agree. I'm glad Natty held the title. It was not a good match. I mean, there's not much I can say on it. I mean, the one thing is, and I don't know when they're going to do it, but I mean, even Chad and I were texting and we're like, okay, well, now would be, if there was ever a time to do it, now would be the time for Carmella to cash in.
Now, Natty was pretty fresh. Why would she cash in? Natty wasn't exhausted, beat down, anything like that. Now, if she got disqualified and then Charlotte beat her down, then that would be a good time. But the capitalization with the Money in the Bank kind of relies on the fact that you get the champion when they're at their weakest. From Edge cashing in on Cena right after an Elimination Chamber match to CM Punk cashing in on Edge right after he got beaten down by Batista, or cashing in on Jeff Hardy right after he'd beaten Edge in a ladder match. That is how you cash in Money in the Bank. Or cash in on Randy Orton right after he gets beaten down by Nexus.
So now here's one thing. Why don't we see why wouldn't we ever see a cash in where like Natty beat up in the back and the ref it doesn't say it has to be in the ring, does it?
I mean, it's not the hardcore title. I'm fairly certain that the Money in the Bank contract, at least what they've presented on TV, states that it is for a match for the championship anytime.
Right. It's match.
A match.
It didn't say
right.
But it didn't say what kind of match.
Well, there is no precedent for it. It's not the hardcore title, so defending it, you would have to It stretches. You have to justify it in order for it to happen. It stretches the bounds of believability. There is no precedent for it. I believe that Edge pinned the Undertaker outside the ring once, but it was still, it was like I maybe there is a precedent. I don't know. I don't think it's not the hardcore title. I don't think that would work.
Well, I
don't think people would buy it.
I think it would be a good way to like have Big Cass come back. I mean, well, you can't really do that because a guy can't beat up a woman, but
you can if you don't see it.
Right. Well, you don't see it. Whatever. Natty's laid out. Carmella comes in, pins Natty. She gets the championship, and there you go. Big Cass and Carmella are together on screen. So that would be my pick for.
I'm just trying to figure out when she's finally going to cash that in. So
before Money in the Bank.
Who was the one who did not get a chance to cash it in?
No one.
I thought, wasn't there someone? No. I thought
no. Edge was close.
Okay,
but nobody's has expired.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. was Edge. He came the closest. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I think we can all agree on that one. I mean, glad Natty won. Wasn't a great match. Let's move on to what I was considering right up there with Rusev and Randy Orton, the WWE Championship match with Jinder Mahal beating Shinsuke Nakamura.
I keep wanting to get on board and, from a fan's point, hate Jinder Mahal's title reign, the right way. And I keep trying to. And until they can really have some good matches, people aren't going to get behind it. And I said this when we were watching the show. The crowd was completely dead when Mahal came out.
Oh, totally.
And the thing is they've got to quit putting Nakamura in these situations, these no-win situations, because eventually people might get tired of him because he's unique and he's this and he's that. But at a certain point, they might really feel like he can't win the big one, especially when you consider the fact that at this time, Mahal pretty much beat him on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
yeah. I just, and I think this is where, once again, people are getting to the point where a lot of people are really hoping, praying, waiting for the day when Triple H can take the reins over from Vince. Because, let's be honest, people like Shinsuke, Bailey, who else would you guys want to throw in that group? Neville, exactly.
Sami Zayn.
People that shined in NXT and were just absolutely amazing. All of a sudden, they get pulled up to the main roster, and it's almost
Bo Dallas.
Okay, we can throw him in there too.
I don't know. I think Bo Dallas was kind of a victim of that small crowd, or a recipient of the small crowd. Like, a big reason why he was so over is because he was dealing with the same people every show.
Over. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I never got to go to any of those, but I know we've talked about it, and that's the problem with some of those people, is that, in that smaller, more intimate atmosphere, someone can get over with the crowd, but that doesn't necessarily translate into, the large arenas. But, you look at those people that we've talked about, they come up to the main roster, and it's like Vince decides, well, we'll give them a little bit of a push because they have the NXT following, but, they're just not what I'm looking for. And then they just get crapped on. I mean, another good one, the Ascension. They did really well in NXT, and then they come up and, they get buried by the old guys.
Yeah, they didn't have a shot. There's guys that have come out and they've had their shot. They've kind of squandered it. Sami Zayn gets injured right when he's getting called up. He was supposed to have the feud with John Cena, not Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So Sami Zayn might be in a situation where they're looking at him like, is he injury prone? With like Bailey, they brought Bailey up like she was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, what did she really do in the ring to impress you from the time she got called up until she got hurt? Or until she lost the title?
Not much.
Right. So the thing is like, there's maybe these people, maybe they can't necessarily handle the lifestyle. Maybe the traveling and everything wears on them, so they can't put on the great matches. I don't know. Kind of like Nakamura. Nakamura hasn't done much in WWE that is astonishing. You've got people like myself who know his work from other places and want him to be pushed on virtue of that and that alone.
Yeah.
Because what has Nakamura done in WWE to warrant even being in the position in which he is in now? So I think that is why a lot... I mean, okay, some of that can be blamed on the bad booking, 50-50 booking, guys trading wins and losses. A lot of that can be on bad storylines. But these guys get X number of minutes to go out there and impress. And if they're when they're in the ring, they're the one who's responsible for they and their opponent are who is responsible for getting the crowd involved in the match from the time they walk through the curtain until the time they walk through the curtain. And so if they're not doing doing what they need to with that time, then who do you blame for that? So I think that is part of it, is that they're just not having these moments, these matches, the impressive, standout moments that they have had in the past.
And I agree.
Well, I mean, my thing is like, there's how many different moves are banned in WWE? I don't know if the same moves are banned in NXT.
They are.
Oh, they are. It's all one big company, so if it's banned in one, it's banned in the others.
So it's just I think that the move sets that some of these people have are more in depth, and I wish they were allowed to pull off some of these move sets. If you're professional wrestlers and you're supposed to be able to know how to do all this stuff, and everybody should be on the same caliber. If WWE really is a number one show, like the top end all be all of the best of the best, they should be able to pull out better move sets than Lucha Libre or New Japan.
Well, no, that is a complete falsehood. That's an ad absurdum argument, because WWE has an image that a lot of these other companies do not have. If you stop a random person on the street and they are not a wrestling fan, they will not know who Ring of Honor is, most likely, or Lucha Underground. And so because of that, they don't get they don't have the spotlight shine on them as big, and they don't get the criticism. So for New Japan to have a guy doing a move called the curb stomp, it's no big deal. But for WWE to have their top guy doing that move with the connotation that it has, it's a bad idea. And it's not that it's necessarily unsafe, but it's a bad idea. At the same time, Roman Reigns shouldn't have a move called the drive-by. But if they're going that way. But the thing is like, okay, Billy Kidman. What was Billy Kidman's finishing move?
I don't remember.
Shooting star press.
Okay.
Do you know why the shooting star press was banned in WWE for a while?
Because Brock Lesnar almost broke his neck
because Billy Kidman botched a shooting star press and came down knee first on Chavo Guerrero's head. Billy Kidman has done the shooting star press how many thousands of times?
Yeah.
But he did it one time wrong and almost killed Chavo. So to sit there and say these guys should be able to do the moves perfectly is completely
we all
ridiculous.
know that accidents happen.
Right.
I mean,
so mitigate that by
moves like the curb stomp, moves like the kick in the face. Those things, yes, those are absolutely. Especially, who was it that got the curb stomp on the cinder blocks?
So you Dean Ambrose, but you mitigate that by getting rid of those moves. Because if a guy can get hurt by taking a pile driver, and a match can be conducted perfectly fine without a pile driver occurring, then why do you need to have a pile driver? Not only that, they take away chair shots to the head. Okay, so no chair shots to the head. I think it's a great thing. I think that knowing what we know, there is no reason to have chair shots to the head. They've taken away blood. So how little did Vince McMahon bleed when he got headbutted by Kevin Owens? It really wasn't that much, was it?
No.
How big of a deal was it?
It was huge.
Right. Why?
Because it was Vince McMahon.
Because we never see blood.
Well, that too. But it's also been how long since we've seen any WWE superstar put their hands on Vince?
Well, sure, but again,
and you throw in the fact Vince's age.
Yeah, but again, if the blood,
if you're going to use
were
the
talking
blood
about the blood, not that Vince had taken a headbutt.
But you know what? Here's the thing. If you're going to talk more about the blood, I mean, I would talk more along the lines of when Brock Lesnar cut open Randy Orton.
Right.
Or
again,
yeah, or
how shocked were people? It happened, and people thought that he went off book.
Yeah.
Because things like that don't happen. And because things like that don't happen in WWE like they used to happen all the time, because they don't happen like that anymore, it becomes special.
Yeah,
I remember
it was like the time that when he first came back, when Brock first came back and he punched Cena, when all the refs were in the ring or security was in the ring and whatnot, and he split Cena wide open.
Right. With elbows,
he busted Cena's lip.
And it was a big deal. I remember it might have been the Hell in a Cell match. It might have been the WrestleMania before that when it wasn't a Hell in a Cell match. But when Triple H hit Undertaker in the head with a chair, people lost their minds because it had been how long since we'd seen a chair shot to the head?
Well, they both got in trouble for it, too.
But the fact of the matter is that because it hadn't happened for so long, when it did happen, people were certain. Chad, you were there with me when we watched that at Mugs and Jugs. People were positive the match was over at that point, because we hadn't seen a chair shot to the head for so long that it had to be the finish of the match. Triple H just ended the streak. And then Undertaker kicked out.
While we're all arguing about, different moveset, let's get back to the fact that one of the biggest problems, though, that we're having, with someone like a Shinsuke is who they're being partnered up with. I mean, I guarantee you, if we finally get to see the match that we've all wanted to see since he made his debut, Shinsuke AJ Styles is going to blow the roof off of wherever they are. Shinsuke Jinder, there's just nothing to it. I mean, I just, like you said, I mean, when is the experiment with Jinder going to be over? And hopefully it's soon. Well, I know they're going to India.
Let me ask you a question. You say there's nothing to it. What does Jinder have?
Well, other than the title,
he has the title. Nothing. He has the title. What does Shinsuke want? He wants the title. There you go. There's your feud right there. Why does it have to be more than that?
There's the feud. The difference is it's the quality of worker.
Right.
And the problem is that Shinsuke is so above and beyond in the talent. He can only do so much, I think, with someone like a Jinder Mahal.
Oh, see, I don't know about that because, I mean, John Cena had great matches with the great Khali. A great wrestler should be able to have a great... What is that? What is that noise? Okay, it's gone. A great... Whatever you're doing, stop it. A great wrestler should be able to have a great match with a good opponent.
I agree.
Jinder Mahal is not a bad wrestler. He's a good wrestler. He's not great, but and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to impugn Nakamura's abilities here. What I'm saying is that there's two people to blame when a match is bad, unless there's outright botches.
Which is true, but, there are instances, though, where there have been, no matter how good a guy is, sometimes the other guy, it just doesn't work. And it just seems like, once again, the matches that Jinder has had, they just haven't worked.
I don't know, his matches with Randy Orton were pretty good.
Well, that's because Randy Orton can carry an elephant if he had to.
So you say that Randy Orton is better than Nakamura?
I don't even think that they were pretty good. I just think if they were good matches, the fans, I think, would get, even if the problem is he's not getting any kind of heat whatsoever other than just shut up and go away heat.
Well, he's not even getting that. That's the thing, is that the matches themselves. Now, this match was bad. Don't get me wrong. But their match at SummerSlam was bad as well. Or rather, wasn't that bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. The lack of heat is from what's happening in between. 1, they have Jinder Mahal behave like a kindergartner. 2, they have Nakamura do nothing in retaliation for weeks. And that makes him look like an idiot. So, I don't know what the reasoning for that is, but it was it's a bad play. So
it's been bad booking this entire rivalry.
Yes.
I mean, everything. From the promos to the matches, there is nothing that has been good about this.
The finishes to the matches have been just fine.
And
that's where the booking comes in, is the finishes to the matches.
Well, exactly.
And I think the finishes have been just fine. It's what comes in between.
Yeah, well, and we're going to move over to the next match, but we'll get back to Jinder Mahal in a little bit. Next match, kind of a forgettable one, and I don't know where the hell they're going to go with this feud, but Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler.
Nothing special. I'm glad Bobby Roode got his first win on pay-per-view. I don't know what they're doing with Dolph Ziggler right now, and I don't care.
I don't think they know what they're doing with Bobby Roode right now.
I mean, I don't know that that's the case, because Dolph Ziggler's the one who's going from character to character. Bobby Roode's just being Bobby Roode.
Which I get, but it's just, and I remember I said it about, 4...
Yeah, you were afraid of what would happen when Bobby Roode came up. I don't think you had anything to be afraid of.
Not right. I don't know. I mean, they're putting him in just a pointless feud with Dolph. I mean, rumors are Dolph is gone when his contract is up. They just want to get as much use out of him because of how much they're paying him. It's a feud that has absolutely nothing behind it other than the fact that Dolph Ziggler is a jealous little, whiny crybaby who doesn't like the fact that, someone's got a better entrance than he does and is over more with the crowd, even though he thinks he's God's gift to wrestling. And it's just like, where are you going to go with this?
You just explained the entire angle. Bobby Roode is granted, he's good in the ring, but he's all entrance.
Yeah.
He is very good in the ring. He has great matches, but he is all entrance.
Yeah,
so
I want that feud to end, and I want them to move Bobby up somewhere, get him in, get him in the US title picture, get him in the IC title picture. Just like I said, where he is right now, for how over he is with the crowd, I just don't think they're using him right. But
I think you're being impatient. Honestly, I think you're being you're being very impatient. The guy's been on the main roster for less than a month.
I know, but
just over a month.
Once again, we see them bring certain people up from NXT right away and give them a huge push. Yeah. And then we see someone else just come out of NXT who was the former champion at the time, and he's in a feud with a guy who can't determine what his damn ring entrance is going to be.
Not everybody needs to be brought up the same way. Not everybody that gets brought up has to be put into something big right away. Look at Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn looks like he's going to be moving up and doing something probably pretty special here in the not-too-distant future. Yes. But he's been working his way up rapidly working his way to the middle. But you say there's plenty of guys that have come up from NXT and been done phenomenally. And you're giving Bobby Roode just over a month, and you're talking about how they're failing.
I don't think he's failing. I just think that he could be doing more, and they could be using him better than they're currently using.
So
I think you just have a man crush on Bobby Roode.
And
if I got a man crush on anybody, it's Corey Graves, but that's a different story.
There's plenty of people. If Bobby Roode was pushed to the top or pushed to even to the mid card, would be saying it's too much too soon. There's no way that they're going to please everybody, of course.
No, of course.
But I think you are being very unfair.
Oh, I'm being very impatient, and I'll be
very
the first one
impatient.
Like I said, and I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I totally am. I see someone who's got that great entrance, who has been, very overcoming in from NXT, and it's like, let's get him in something, meaningful right away. And, here he is. He's going up against Dolph, and like I said, I'm sorry.
Is Dolph Ziggler not a former 2-time world champion?
No, he is.
Okay.
But it's getting back to the whole how they've been using him lately. The rumors that he wants to walk away when his contract is up.
You mean the rumors that came up the last time his contract was up?
Mm-hmm. I know. So, like I said, I'm just being impatient. So
very.
All right, let's get on to the final match of the evening. Hell in a Cell match between Commissioner Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we all got sick at one point in the match.
The first part of the match was great.
Yes.
And then Kevin Owens climbed the cell. And then Shane McMahon climbed the cell. And my stomach hurt for about 20 minutes.
I came very, very close to actually having Taylor leave the room.
Yeah.
Because, and you and I talked about it. The first thing, and we all know that the current incarnation of this cell is a million times safer than the 1998 Hell in a Cell that Mankind and Undertaker were in.
The 1998 Hell in a Cell post-June was a million times safer than Hell in a Cell.
No. You're right.
The chain link dude, watch that match again. The chain link was held onto the poles with zip ties. And they expected 300-pound guys to be able to walk around on that.
Well, once again, I also don't think they expected guys to go to the top of the cell, but that's a different story. But I think the biggest problem was those of us who watched Hell in a Cell in 98 and watched it live, watched it with people.
Hell, even didn't watch it live.
But still, I know there have been a lot of people who have watched it on replay. But
doesn't have the same impact. Just like watching King of the Ring 2001 with Shane McMahon bouncing his head off the concrete on replay doesn't have the same impact.
Exactly. So, watching Mankind and being thrown off, going through the table, getting back up in there, and then being slammed through the cage, and literally watching him hit that mat like a wet noodle.
Yeah.
That is something that is forever ingrained in my head. JR's commentary, by God, he's cut in half, blah, blah. Just everything.
Well, that wasn't even close.
I wasn't trying.
No, I mean like the words.
So, but still, it's something that, Tristan and I were texting each other about it. I was physically watching that and was extremely uncomfortable.
Yes.
I mean, like literally every time.
It ruined my enjoyment of the match.
It did.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
It really did, because
and every time they hit the cage, all I could see was Mankind going through the roof of the
notice
cage.
they were pretty smart about it. They stayed over the ring. They never went to one of the side panels just in case something happened.
Yep.
But yeah.
and that's why, I'll be honest, I mean, they need, and this is just me, and agree with me, don't agree with me.
I probably won't.
If I never see two guys go to the top of a cell ever again for a Hell in the Cell, I'm good with it.
Yeah, me too.
I really am.
But they did this for the exact reaction that they got.
But here was, the one thing that pissed me off, though, and I don't know if it really pissed you guys off. I got pissed when the crowd, and you could tell when they were up there, that crowd was quiet.
Oh, yeah. They were waiting for something to happen.
They were waiting for exactly what you and me and Chad were all worried about at home.
Oh, yeah.
When is Shane McMahon going to die?
You talk about when Kevin Owens was climbing down, they started booing him.
Exactly. That pissed me off.
No, not me. Because the first of all, consider where they were.
It didn't piss me off that Kevin Owens climbed down.
No, that's what I'm talking about. The fact that that the crowd booed. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Consider where they were. It's a little bit more closer to the East Coast type wrestling fans. So they're your ECW type fans. They wanted somebody to go through that cell.
I know.
When they started coming down, they were booing. They wanted to see something happen. They thought that it was going to go back into the ring.
I honestly thought at one point Kevin Owens was going to throw Shane.
Well, yeah, they wanted you to.
Yeah, but like Tristan and I talked about it yesterday, the days of that happening are over.
I don't think so. I don't think of him getting thrown off the cell would have any more negative impact, because he's still going to be in control of his fall. Kevin Owens, it's literally Shane jumping off with Kevin Owens' hand on his back. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So he's in perfect control of the fall. The only reason that you would not see that is because of the imagery, and that imagery happens when two guys are fighting on top of the cell, regardless. So I think that they were, all they were doing is they wanted those heart-stopping, breath-taking moments again and again, because you just kept waiting for it to happen and waiting for it to happen. And the only reason that it was bad is because it went on too long.
Oh, I agree on that. They were up there way
like 15, 20 minutes, it felt like. It was probably closer to 10, but they were up there for a long time. If they had been up there 2-3 minutes, it would have been better. The longer they were up there, the more I became convinced that something was really going to happen, and it was not going to be planned.
Yeah,
because they were ruining the integrity of the cage. If you notice, that one panel that they did most of their stuff on was just sagging.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so, you're talking Kevin Owens is almost a 300-pound guy, and Shane is not a small man himself.
No, so, Shane's at like 265. I
don't know about that, but he's a big boy.
So, I'll be honest, when they got off the cage, I was very happy. I didn't even have a problem with Shane going up to do the jump.
You knew it was going to happen.
You knew it was going to happen. It's Shane.
That's why the falls count anywhere stipulation was there. Because he knew he was going to go on top of the cell. That's what I told you guys.
Yeah.
And so,
now, I'll be honest. I am totally fine with KO winning. But what did you guys think about Sami Zayn?
Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
I would even be okay if they didn't go the route that they went and had it not even be a heel turn for Sami Zayn, or not a real heel turn. He would still be a heel, but he'd be a reluctant heel. Kind of like, nobody gets to beat up my best friend but me. If anybody's going to do this to my best friend, it's going to be me. I might hate him, but you don't get to.
Oh, yeah.
Well, even that, or they could have said that he just did it because this guy was my best friend, and even though he's done this stuff to me, doesn't mean that he deserves that to happen to him,
Right. I mean, they could have gone several routes. I think they made the right choice. But there's several ways they could have gone with it, and I like it. It's something fresh for Sami Zayn, and he needs it.
No, he does. I mean, it'll be, like I said, I mean, I didn't have a problem with that. I liked the fact that KO, he did win the match.
Should have won.
Remember what I texted you at the beginning? I said, God, I would love nothing more for this match to end with Kevin Owens pinning Shane in front of his wife and kids.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's be honest. I mean, Kevin Owens, those times when he's just rubbing Shane's face up and he's talking crap to Shane's kids.
Oh yeah.
I love every
awesome.
single moment of that.
Well,
and then his kids are talking crap back.
Oh yeah. Well, no, and I love the fact, why was no one concerned about my kid when Shane attacked me?
Exactly.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are the best kind of heel because they're the bad guys who don't think they're bad guys. They think that what they're doing is justified and necessary, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I loved the Kevin Owens prize fighter thing in NXT.
Yes.
He debuts, Sami Zayn wins the title, Kevin Owens hugs him and congratulates him for winning, and then power bombs him on the ring apron. Because you've got the belt, and that belt means more money for me, so I want it.
Yeah.
And I'd like if they went back to that.
Okay, so let's we'll end off here with Hell in a Cell. Let's give it a grade. What would you guys say? A through F.
B minus.
Chad?
No, I'd give it a C.
Okay, yeah. See, I was going to give it a B. One really solid match with the New Day, a pretty decent match between Shane. The rest of the card, I think,
the U.S. title match was good.
It was good. I still didn't think it was great, but it was good. But
it was enough to save this from being just an average or below average show, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can go with you on that one. I mean, if that match had been any worse, we're talking about, at least for my opinion, like a C+ pay-per-view. So, all right, we're gonna go with two more things. There was one I forgot to mention at the beginning. But we'll move really quick to the next one. Rumors. Lita was doing an interview, was talking about the fact that we might see a WWE women's tag team division.
I read that article in the email you sent. That's not what I took from it at all. She said it's been talked about. So, she said there's a lot of things that have to come up before that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, and we talked about this before, I don't think a women's tag title comes unless the women get their own show.
Right.
I agree. I think it definitely needs to be, I think it's needed, if they have their own show, because they need more stuff to just fight over, more stuff to have storylines based around.
Again, and it should be a SmackDown exclusive property.
I agree.
There should be no women's tag title on Raw because they have the Cruiserweights.
Yes. I agree with you 100% on that one. And let's be honest, the women's SmackDown roster is a lot deeper currently than the Raw roster.
Oh, and it's going to continue to be so with the addition of Asuka.
Exactly. So, all right. So, good idea, bad idea if they decide to do it. What do you guys think?
Good idea, but with the caveat of it's their own show.
Okay, Chad?
Yeah, I'll have to agree with Tristan. As long as they have their own show, that would be good. Right now, if you added on there, it's like we talked about before, it would just be too many titles to deal with.
Yeah, I know, and I'm with you guys on that one. Okay, and then last thing before we end up the news segment, Monday Night Raw, The Shield reunites.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw it coming.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it, but to me, it's a non-story. I liked the idea of having the Miz and the Bar in the match. The addition of Braun Strowman's a bad idea, in my opinion. I think they're just going to make the Shield look too strong, or they're going to lose and completely cut their nuts off.
Yep.
So it's a bad idea all around.
I didn't even know why. I mean, I can understand why they went after Strowman, because all of them have had beef with him in the past. Yeah. And this was kind of like their way of being able to get back at him. But was it really warranted?
Yes.
Possibly. Was it needed?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it was.
No.
Yes, it was.
You think so?
Absolutely. They needed something to show just how dominant the Shield could be for people that may not have seen it, may have forgotten. So for the three of them to go and take out Braun Strowman, I think was a great move. I think it was necessary. I think what was unnecessary was adding him to the match at TLC.
And maybe that's where I should have gone with that. I mean, if they would have gone after Strowman and then after that left Strowman alone and, he's not going to be involved in the match, okay, I get it. But, yeah, I agree. Adding him to the match, I think it's a bad idea. So, Chad?
I mean, I don't we had talked about it earlier. I didn't really see what happened. I mean, why is it going to be a handicap match?
Well, because they took out Strowman on Raw. The Shield took out Strowman, powerbombed him through the table. Miz said, "Hey, since the Shield said they can beat any 3, 4, 5, 6 guys on the roster, why not put him in the match?" Terrible idea, in my opinion.
It's going to be the Miz, the Bar, and Braun Strowman versus the Shield in a TLC match.
They've done that before. They've had the TLC match with nothing on the line before, including with the Shield. So it makes sense.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't think it's a good idea to have Strowman in the match.
Right. Like I say, it's going to either make the Shield look way too strong, like DX beating the Spirit Squad strong, or it's going to just cut their nuts off as an organization. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just going to kill any chance they have for continuing. So, All right. Well, that's it, folks, for this week in the wrestling news. Go ahead, check out our site again at ProWrestlingAlmanac.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PWAlmanac and on Facebook, Pro Wrestling Almanac. Plus, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and on iTunes, and we can be heard on TuneIn Radio and Google Play. Right now, we're going to go to Chad so we can find out what's happening in social media in the world of wrestling right now. So what's going on, Chad?
Well, it was kind of a boring week this week in social media. The biggest things we have is today is actually Dusty Rhodes' birthday. So a lot of wrestlers, new and old, are giving their respects to the American Dream. Dustin, he actually posted a really nice thing for his dad, as did Cody. But that was a nice thing. Also, something we found out was Rhea Ripley from the Mae Young Classic. She turned 21 as of today. Really, the only other thing is I guess they saw that, or I saw that Cody Rhodes and his wife, along with Zack Ryder and Chelsea Green from the Tough Enough.
Laurel Van Ness, to those who watch GFW.
Yeah, Laurel Van Ness. They were all at Halloween Horror Nights, and they've been hanging out together, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I guess they all just are friends in real life, and they're hanging out pretty much on the regular now. So, but other than that, there's not really anything fun and exciting going on in social media.
I've got something fun and exciting. Do we have any trivia questions this week, Mike?
Not this week.
You mean you couldn't even come up with one?
I've been really busy. I was watching a hockey game.
Who won that game?
Calgary just did in overtime. So
that's what you
at least you got a point.
We got a point. I'll take it, and we haven't lost a game in regulation. So
and the other thing is, I guess apparently Bill Goldberg was on the Goldbergs tonight.
He's been on the Goldbergs a couple times.
Has he?
I think so.
I know he was on. I know he was on tonight, and everybody's making a big deal about it.
Yeah, I think he's been on a couple of times.
But since Tristan was talking about the trivia, once again, folks, if you think you have what it takes to stump Tristan, send us your trivia question to stumpthealmanac@gmail.com. Once again, he does not have any access to this, and send them in, and we'll see if we can stump him on that one. So, with that being said, now it's time for us to go back into the past, take a look into wrestling history as revisited by the Ghost of Wrestling Past.
Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold?
I am.
Who? What are you?
I'm the Ghost of
Wrestling's
Past.
All right, guys, for this week's Ghost Wrestling Pass, I went with kind of an iconic one and an iconic show that I know I watched live, and it really touched a place in me because I was a huge WCW fan. So for this week's, I went with the last episode ever of WCW Monday Nitro. So what did you guys think about the show?
It honestly, other than the WWF stuff, it didn't feel any different than another Nitro. That and Ric Flair's promo.
Yeah, Ric Flair's promo. The fact that the one thing, and it's a continuity thing with me, but the fact that Tony Schiavone kept jumping back and forth between this being the last Monday Nitro ever, will we ever see this again, or it was the last Monday Nitro on TNT, kind of drove me a little nuts. I mean, it was just that constant back and forth. This is the last WCW Monday Nitro, and then like 2 sentences later, it's the last Monday Nitro on TNT, as if it was going to continue next week.
They were trying to further that we have no idea what's going to happen thing. Because they said that a bunch of times throughout the show as well.
Yeah, no, and I get that. It drove me nuts. Believe it or not, my favorite thing was watching Vince fire Jeff Jarrett at the beginning.
GONNE, double N double E.
I mean,
which spells Goni, by the way, but
But I mean, that was my favorite portion. I mean, the matches in and of themselves, I mean, they were okay. It was more just the fact that if you were a WCW fan, to turn on the television and all of a sudden you see the Raw is War logos and Vincent Kennedy McMahon standing there, and you didn't have time, and once again, 2001, a lot of these websites weren't what they are today. And, there was scuttlebutt or what have you, but it wasn't all confirmed.
Scuttlebutt? It was on WWF.com.
Well,
Dude,
yes.
Put it this way. I remember going and turning on the TV to watch Nitro and looking at the TV, looking at the remote, looking at my watch, turning the channel to, I guess it was TNN at the time.
Yeah,
TNT was
TNN. He's talking about
okay.
Raw.
So I was like, okay, well that's not there, and flipped back, and it was like, this is on TNT.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I did find it funny that when Vince was cutting the promo at the very end, he said
that Nitro was on TNN.
Yeah, Nitro was on TNN, which I had to watch that twice to make sure that really was what he said.
Yep, so. It was. Yeah, I mean, But getting back to what I was talking about, Tristan, yeah, I know WWE had it on their webpage, but once again, we're talking 2001, and people were not religiously going to the web pages every day to find out what was going on. I mean, we're still talking at 2001. We're a good 6 years away from the very first iPhone having come out.
Right.
So, I mean, if you were working and you literally, depending on where you were, West Coast or what have you, you are at work all day, you don't have your personal phone, you couldn't use the company internet to be searching wrestling web pages, and you start watching Nitro. I mean, that was
it was surreal. It was surreal. Yeah. I knew the story broke, and so that's why I was watching Nitro, because I didn't watch Nitro regularly. I think the last episode of Nitro that I watched prior to this happening was when they were replaying Sid breaking his leg from Sin.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wasn't a big WCW guy. I watched Nitro occasionally, depending on what I had heard was going on storyline-wise. But just to see, like I said, the Monday Night Raw logo, the Raw's War, Vince McMahon, the in between segments having, backstage with Vince. I mean, which, by the way, can we also all agree that it is very nice to see that the WWE has gone away from segments like Vince
making that out with Trish Stratus?
Yeah.
Pretty glad that has happened.
I'm really glad. Now, Harvey Weinstein might have a problem with that, but
let's not.
Yeah,
too soon.
Let's not.
Too soon. But yeah, no. I mean, it was very fitting that the last match was Sting and Flair.
Oh yeah, because it was the main event of the first show. So
yeah,
right.
So,
but in watching this, I definitely. We had 2 cruiserweight matches on this episode.
3.
And we had
there was 3.
Oh, that's right, because you had the number 1 contendership for the
cruiserweight tag titles, a championship that had lasted all of 8 days. By the way, the first Kid Romeo and Elix Skipper won the champion. The first were the first champions at Greed, which was the Sunday a week prior. The 18th of March. And the reason that tournament started was it was Eric Bischoff's idea when he was buying WCW. So he was already taking over creative and making decisions when he thought he was going to buy it before Jamie Kellner pulled the plug on WCW TV.
Yeah. It's ironic and it makes me laugh a little bit because I hadn't seen this episode in a while, and I really forgot how close it looked that Ric Flair was about to have an aneurysm during that promo. But it's more interesting after having watched on the WWE Network the Monday Night Wars, and when they interviewed Flair about the last episode, and they asked him, they were like, well, what did you think going into that last episode? And I don't remember the exact words, but it was something along the lines of, thank God this happened. I mean, he was so happy that WCW was over because of just everything that had gone on, the quote-unquote shit show that it became, especially in the final year, after the war was pretty much officially over. It's funny.
Over.
Well, it wasn't officially over until this, but I mean, the ratings war was over. WWE had definitely taken the clear lead.
Well, you could argue that the ratings war was over, and could have argued that the ratings war was over in '97 because WCW was killing WWF in the ratings.
Yeah.
So it was not over by any stretch of the imagination until AOL Time Warner pulled the plug on WCW on Turner TV.
No, that is true. But yeah, to just see him talk about how happy he was and glad that it was over, and then to go back and watch that promo of his, that was always interesting. It was one of those where watching it in the moment, you're like, all right, yeah, Flair and the guys are going to stick it to Vince and they're going to tell him to go to hell. And in retrospect, we know that, Rick goes out there and deep inside, he's happy that this is happening, but looks like he's about to have a grabber. So,
well, the way that he cut the promo, it doesn't necessarily.
I don't even think he took a breath during that promo.
Might not have. Can we also say Stacy Keibler? Fine.
Oh,
I miss Stacy so much.
I do too. I just like.
I met her in real life.
Talk.
Chad, you give me more reasons to have you not talk. That is definitely one of them.
Oh, well, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't realize it was her until after she walked away.
Okay, now you're just no longer allowed to talk on the podcast.
Well, I mean, think about it. When you're an 18-year-old kid at a freaking grocery store, you don't expect to see Stacy Keibler walk through your grocery store.
Were you in the cookie aisle? Because that would have been amazing.
I was working in the seafood department, and she bought a piece of salmon from me. Where did you work?
You worked at Publix?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was my first job.
I thought Best Buy was your first job. Shows what I know.
Yeah, that's what you know.
So,
but anyway,
what was your guys'
timeout? But back to the cruiserweights.
Okay.
And this is what I've been saying for a while. How much more enjoyable and how crazy the cruiserweights were on this in comparison to what the cruiserweights are today?
I think it's just a symbol of who they were, not the cruiserweights in general. You had Rey Mysterio, Billy Kidman, and Elix Skipper. Kid Romeo was very good too, but those three were, Elix Skipper was one of the reasons why TNA was so popular amongst diehard fans in 2004, 2005. In fact, it was his tag team match. I want to say it was America's Most Wanted versus Elix Skipper and Christopher Daniels. But I could be wrong. I know it was those two, Elix Skipper and Christopher Daniels, but who they were going against, I could be wrong, was the first match that had a "This is awesome" chant, at least on TV. So Elix Skipper was no joke.
The other guys you forgot to mention that were on that episode were Chavo and Shane Helms, who was the champion at the time. So
right, we were just talking about the cruiserweight tag title match at that moment, and so that's what I.
Yeah, but the guys that they had back then for the cruiserweights. When those guys came over into WWE, that was the best time. For cruiserweights, period. I think. The cruiserweights in the WWE during that time, did pretty well. What was your guys' favorite? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say what they did in the ring just was like a spectacle. So what you were watching was huge.
Well, just I think a big
the high
part
flying and all that.
I think a big part of why the cruiserweights don't have the same impact now is because the innovation just isn't there. Because what the heck are they going to do? Like Mustafa Ali's 054 or the Red Arrow. AJ Styles doing a shooting star press off the ropes. Those are things that you can't get much more innovative than that. Ricochet does a 630. It's a shooting it's a 450 splash, but it's another rotation into a senton.
Yeah, so there's only so much that you can physically do.
And all of these guys are doing the same things that Rey Mysterio and Billy Kidman and all the innovators of the Cruiserweight division did then. But it's all been seen, so it doesn't have the same impact. And so then somebody does something like the Red Arrow, and you're just like, holy cow, that's amazing. Well, it's his finisher. So when you see it every week, you're like, okay, I've seen this, so it's still amazing, but what's next? Yeah. I think that's the problem with the Cruiserweight division today. Well, that and the fact that WWE has this thing about making their Cruiserweights wrestle like everybody else, with a few big spots thrown in.
Yeah, instead of letting them go for broke like they used to be able to in WCW.
Right.
So, okay, favorite match of the night, guys?
First match, world title match.
Yeah, I mean that was a good match. What was the other one that I really liked?
I don't know. You haven't told us yet. I made him forget what he was going to say.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Well, while you're thinking and trying to figure it out, for me it was Sting and Flair.
Of course,
I mean, just closing out, the history of the company, the fact that it was, the first main event from the first Nitro, probably, the two. I mean, Sting, the consummate WCW guy. I mean, like Shivani said, I mean, the man lived, breathed, slept, and bled WCW. Never left, never jumped ship. And Flair, just because it's Flair. I mean, was it the greatest match they ever had?
Good Lord, no.
No, it wasn't.
There wasn't even a Scorpion death drop.
Yeah, not even close. But
Flair wrestled like a fat kid in a swimming pool.
That's why he was wearing a T-shirt.
That's what I said. He was like a fat kid in a swimming pool.
Uh-huh.
What did you think I was
know
talking
all about that.
No, I wouldn't wear a shirt when I swim.
I don't like to burn. So, but yeah, so for me, it was sheer that I do agree. Championship match, first match, Booker T, versus Scott Steiner, was a great match. Glad Booker T got the win on that one, but yeah. It was, and then to end it, I mean, that was, I think, the craziest part was to literally, you got Sting and Flair in the ring hugging each other, and Shivani's talking, doesn't even get to give a send-off or anything, and it cuts straight to Cleveland.
Well, if you watch the Raw, the reason for that is because they timed it wrong, and Vince came out too early, and then he insisted that he get another entrance, right?
You could see it. I mean, he looked at Lillian, walked back,
and
gave
that's
her the
why
look.
That's why when he was halfway up the ramp going back up to the ring or to the entrance, when they cut over too soon.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so Chad, what did you think when you were watching this live about the final 15 minutes when it was all Vince?
The final 15 minutes, the whole show when it was Vince,
yes.
Or when it was Vince, I definitely thought that I would never see any of the guys that I really enjoyed watching in the WWF. I just had, no clue. I didn't think Goldberg was going to make it over because at that time Goldberg was huge.
That time Goldberg was nowhere. At that point, Goldberg had been squashed by Scott Steiner and was off TV.
Well, but you assumed Goldberg was coming back and all that, and I had no idea what was going to happen with him. So, that kind of thing, I was just like, well, not that WWF had a bad product at that time, but I still was a fanboy to the WCW. So,
see, I told you guys he was special. So at that point, it pretty much just became your typical WWE promo for a pay-per-view. That
was the go-home show for
WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
And I was really psyched at the idea of Ted Turner being at WrestleMania. Like, I totally bought that was going to happen. I totally bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. And then they brought Shane McMahon out. And I don't know what I thought was going to happen. I don't know if I thought, if you fast forward to WrestleMania, some of the WCW guys were in a luxury box at WrestleMania when Shane came out, and they were all giving him a standing ovation and everything. And so I don't know what they were planning. I don't know why. I came out of that show the same way I went into it. Like, what am I seeing here today? Like, what just happened? Other than
I kind of thought that Shane was going to legitimately buy it out, and we were going to see Shane versus Vince on more Monday Night Wars.
Chad was 15. You can be excused because it was still real to him. Damn it.
He still believed in kayfabe. It was like Santa Claus to him.
What do you mean, like Santa Claus, like generous and gave toys to kids? What do you mean? What?
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
What are you telling me, Mike?
Don't worry. You can believe in kayfabe still too, buddy.
What is this kayfabe you speak of?
Who is kayfabe?
Dude, for a long time, I seriously was like, who are they talking about when they say kayfabe? I thought they were talking about Kevin Federline. I'm not even kidding.
Wow. He's talking, when he says they used to talk about it, he's referring to like 2 weeks ago.
It's not entirely true. I Googled it about a month ago.
It's not entirely false either. Okay, and
on that note,
the one thing very historically significant show, eh?
No, it was. I mean, the one thing I took away from it is that was probably the first and last time Vince McMahon would ever ask a open-ended question to the crowd.
Which one?
When he was asking which stars we should keep and which ones we should fire.
They started chanting Goldberg?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's putting his thumb up and he's thinking they're going to say no to keep him. And then when he's saying get rid of them, they're like, no.
I don't think he really went into that expecting anything, to be honest with you.
I don't think so either, but it was just one of those where, I mean, he even said, he goes, oh, well, we got a pretty split crowd here, you know?
I think the biggest reaction that he was surprised about was Buff Bagwell. I know I was.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
The fact that Buff was so over with with that crowd, yeah.
I definitely was surprised on that. Watching that again, this morning when I was watching Nitro, I had totally forgot that Buff got that big a reaction from the crowd in Cleveland.
I mean, Buff was over.
He was over, but
yeah.
I mean, the fact that, he got the biggest cheer out of that entire group. I mean, he was even mentioning the likes of Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger. He mentioned Goldberg, and then all of a sudden
got a pretty big pop too. I think.
Yeah, but I still think Buff's was bigger.
Maybe. I think he was like the first name that wasn't a WWE guy at one point.
True.
Yeah. Well, and Goldberg wasn't, but
that was after Buff, though.
Was it?
I think.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so, but yeah, so I mean, it was still, like I said, it was historic. It was crazy. I mean, I remember vividly the look on Vince's face when that classic line was, and you're right, Dad, the last name on the contract says McMahon.
Yeah. Oh.
But the first name is Shane. And I literally was just like, holy shit.
Yeah. It was a big deal.
It was huge. And we all know what ended up happening, with the invasion angle and everything. The other thing I loved is both at Raw and Nitro, people holding up the signs that said, so Vince, first it was the XFL, then ECW, now WCW, what's next?
Yeah.
I mean,
because the XFL was still a thing.
Oh, well, it had ended already, I think
it was still going on, or it hadn't started yet. It was about to start, or was had just started, because 2001 was the year of the XFL.
Let me see here. I got to see this one really quick. Hold on. Because that episode of Nitro was, the 26th of May?
March.
That's right. Sorry. Got my... So the first game was in February
of 2001.
Of 2001, right. And the last game of the season
was in like June or May.
Trying to remember.
Oh goodness, don't remember. Just look it up. I'm looking it up.
Time. No, I'm looking it up right now. It's taking time.
What do you have, dial-up?
Yes, I do.
He's using up all of his bandwidth over Skype.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
He's got that California. He's got that California regulated internet like China.
Oh God, I hate it out here. By the way, what did you guys what did you guys think about the ESPN 30 for 30 on the XFL?
Never saw it.
Didn't watch it.
It was really good.
That's how much I thought of it.
By the way, did you hear November?
Is the Flair
this
one?
Is something that we're all definitely going to have to watch. ESPN 30 for
30 for Ric Flair.
Ric Flair.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's going to be huge. I mean, they've brought out everybody for that one. JR has done a bunch of interviews for it. So I definitely cannot wait for that one. No, championship game. Yeah, it was after. It was April 15th. Yeah.
So speaking of the
XFL was still a legitimate thing at that point in time.
Yeah, but it had failed so miserably by that point.
No, not really.
Yes.
No, not really.
After that second week where they had that game in LA where they lost power, they didn't have the generators. They talk about it in the documentary that after that game in LA that went in like 2 overtimes and just a bunch of that was the death nail already at that point because the ratings had just tanked after that.
I actually had the opportunity to get every single one of the teams in the XFL's helmets.
Huh?
Yeah, like one helmet from each team.
How?
From the XFL. A guy I know was getting rid of them.
And you
do you still have? Do you still have them?
No. I didn't. I ended up not picking them up. I was working on some guy's fish tank, and he offered them to me, and I was like, "What am I going to do with all those?"
Sell them.
Yeah. Oh God, are you kidding me? What you could probably sell those things for now?
Yeah, a memorabilia shop would pay a bunch for them.
Oh God, yeah.
I never thought they would be worth anything. Cursed John Cena.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on here because we're, like I say, I don't edit any of this crap out anymore. So
yeah, I don't blame you.
It just takes too dang long. And even so, I'm still probably not going to get this show on until tomorrow afternoon because I gotta crash out. I'm dead.
Yeah,
you and me both. But so I guess next week is for you for the Ghost Wrestling Pass. So what do you got for us?
I'm going with my all-time favorite Royal Rumble match, 92. That's what
92.
92 Royal Rumble.
Have you seen that one, Chad? No, it was not.
No, it was not, buddy.
No, 93 was the one that was in Tampa, and
that was 95, Chad.
95 was in Tampa?
Yes. 93 was in Sacramento.
Whatever.
You could keep trying to sound smart, but you're going to fail.
Oh, yeah, no. 92, hands down for me. Best Royal Rumble ever. One of the best cards for a Royal Rumble. So we'll get into that next week. But up next, we're going to have Tristan with the Indie Spotlight. Indie Wrestling. Indie Wrestling. Indie Wrestling. Indie Wrestling, Indie Wrestling, Indie Wrestling, Indie Wrestling, Indie Wrestling, Indie Wrestling, Indie Wrestling.
This week's Indie Spotlight is Bar Wrestling out of Baldwin Park, California. They opened up shop earlier this year and will be running their 5th show, This Is Halloween, on Thursday, October 12th, with a lot of recognizable names. Featured on this show will be WWE alumni Gangrel, GFW stars Abyss, Rosemary, and Taya Valkyrie, Mae Young Classic standout Candice LeRae, and Lucha Underground stars Joey Ryan, Willie Mack, and Cage. If you're interested in attending, the show starts at 9 p.m. and is at the American Legion Post 241 at 4725 Main Avenue in Baldwin Park. Tickets are $25 at the door. Tickets are $25 at the door, and it is a concert-style venue, so it will be standing room only. If you're interested in Bar Wrestling's past events, you visit barwrestling.pivotshare.com for their streaming service, and you can also check them out on Twitter at Bar Wrestling and on Facebook at Bar Wrestling LA. Other shows coming up this week are New Era Wrestling's Fight Fest on Saturday, October 14th at the Buffalo Rose in Golden, Colorado. Tickets are $10 and doors open at 5:30 p.m. Also, Revolution Pro Wrestling will be live in Cardiff at Tramshed in Cardiff, Wales on Sunday, October 15th. Doors open at 5 p.m. and tickets are available at revolutionprowrestling.com. And as always, please remember that if you attend any events throughout the week, to send them to us at prowrestlingalmanac@gmail.com so we can add them to our database and achieve our goal of being the largest library of independent wrestling promotions on the internet.
All right, folks, and remember, check out our website, prowrestlingalmanac.com. Check us out on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PW Almanac.
Instagram, is that some different, some new social media site, Mike?
It's late. It's been a long day.
Also on Instagram
at PW Almanac. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and on iTunes. We can be heard on TuneIn Radio and Google Play. Once again, if you want to stump the founder of ProWrestlingAlmanac.com, please send us your trivia to stumpthealmanac@gmail. And that's it. Ref has given us the 10 count, which means
you just broke up. We didn't get the email address, buddy.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I heard it.
Okay. So apparently I'm just a freak.
That's okay.
Stumpthealmanac@gmail.
Stumpthealmanac@gmail.
Stumpthealmanac@gmail. So, like I said, folks, that's it. The ref's giving us the 10 count, which means we're done. So, until next week, I'm Mike, and for Chad and Tristan, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again when the bell rings.